All right, the Friday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Hope you had a good Friday, everyone, and are ready for the final weekend of 2019. Plenty to talk about weather-wise this evening, but not a lot of snow and cold to talk about. For winter weather lovers, this is not your pattern currently, and it's not really your pattern for the next week or so. We did 61 today, our second consecutive day with highs in the 60s after tying a record at 64 yesterday. It was 61 this afternoon in Cleveland, 58 in Pittsburgh. Boy, pretty impressive stuff for late December. Not record territory, but still pretty impressive. But a cold front on schedule moved through mid-afternoon, and temperatures have fallen precipitously over the last few hours. We've lost about 20 degrees in about 5 hours since that early afternoon high in the lower 60s. As of 7 o'clock, it was 41 at the Youngstown Warren Airport. We're heading down to about freezing overnight tonight. Got a lot of comments and feedback on social media, especially Facebook lately. Hey, are we going to have a winter this year? Does this mean winter's over? And the answer is absolutely not. We live where we live, and we have to remember that. And winter, a lot of times, unfortunately, in my opinion, stretches way out into March a lot of years. And so we've got at least 2 months, if not 3 months, worth of potential winter weather ahead of us. January, typically our snowiest month. About a quarter of our annual snow falls during the month of January. February is a little bit lower than December, and I think that's mostly due to the fact that February is the shortest month, only 28 days, although 29 days in 2020 with a leap year. If February were as long as December, December and February would be fairly identical in terms of annual snow. And yeah, even March. March is our fourth snowiest month. 17.4% of our annual snow falls during the month of March. And yes, we've had some warm weather in the winter season of late, but generally the snow trends have actually been in the upward direction since the turn of the century, after a couple of relatively benign decades in terms of total snow around here in the 80s and 90s. Since the 2000s through the end of this decade, it's actually been fairly snowy. Last winter was an exception, and these winters of late, these last couple of decades, have been snowier than those famous winters of the 1970s. The 1970s winters, we had some severe winters in terms of temperatures, but a couple of those winters were so cold, the storm track was suppressed so far to the south that we actually didn't have a ton of snow around here during those really harsh winters of the mid to late 70s. All right, back here in the current time frame, not much on the weather map of interest locally tonight. As high pressure drifts across tonight, we'll be quiet. Talk about the fog potential in just a second. Some showers down in the deep south. Interesting system emerging from the Rockies. This is the system that will become our Sunday rainmaker around here. Right now, though, it's producing some cold air. We were warmer than Phoenix most of the day today. And at this early evening hour, they're now warmer than us. But still, 50 in Phoenix is pretty chilly, even by December standards. Up in the higher elevations, Flagstaff's at 28. And in some of the rural areas surrounding Phoenix, away from the metro area, freeze watches are out. Again, nothing crazy unusual for midwinter in Arizona, but this is pretty cold stuff, and certainly colder than the air mass that we have overhead right now, especially compared to the average. Now, as the sky is partially cleared this evening, we'll watch for some stratus clouds and perhaps some fog to form overnight tonight. Those stratus clouds are off to our west right now. If we stay clear enough tonight for a long enough period of time, we may not see just low clouds. It may turn into just fog tomorrow morning. So either way, if you're out and about early tomorrow, watch out for potential low visibilities across the area. Whatever fog and stratus is out there will clear out some in the afternoon. We'll call it a mix of sun and clouds for Saturday afternoon. Temperatures approaching 50. Yes, not as warm as the last couple of days, but hey, temperatures approaching 50 in late December. That's still 17 degrees above the average. All right, we still have this wet day coming up on Sunday. This is pretty much a washout with rain off and on throughout the day. Our high temperature Sunday probably is late in the day. It may even occur towards midnight Sunday night. We may be in the upper 50s by 11 o'clock Sunday evening. Showers continue. If we get a rumble of thunder out of this, I don't think it's Sunday, but maybe in the wee hours of Monday morning with the approach of our cold front, I think it's a small chance, but I can't rule out a clap of thunder at about 4, 5, 6 in the morning Monday morning. The showers will depart, and we'll be left with variably cloudy skies and probably falling temperatures during the course of Monday. Models in pretty good agreement and singing a similar tune to what I showed you last evening. Probably an average of around an inch worth of rain coming our way Sunday and into Sunday night, first thing Monday morning. A little free car wash and enough to clean the streets off from the salt that's been down for a while now, and we haven't had a whole lot of precipitation to wash that away lately. National Weather Service actually has a low-end risk of flash flooding up to about I-70, Columbus to Zanesville to Cambridge. Really no flooding concerns around here. An inch worth of rain over 24 hours will not really aggravate any rivers or streams too badly around here. Now, it is going to be colder for midweek. Now, it's still going to be warmer than average, but noticeably colder for midweek. This includes New Year's Eve day on Tuesday. I think we'll get into the upper 30s. Some flurries around Tuesday, maybe even a heavier snow shower to watch out for Tuesday afternoon. And then at midnight, Tuesday night, as we welcome in 2020, I think it'll be around 30, and wind chills will probably be in the teens. Not as much wind as we had last year. If you remember, we had a windstorm around here New Year's Eve into New Year's Day last year. Nothing like that this year. It's just going to be a cold wind and maybe some flurries, but the roads should generally be fine for those who are doing some traveling. Be careful out there. Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. 2-day cool down, Tuesday into Wednesday as we ring in the new year, and then way back above average again Thursday and Friday. And I think while colder trends will start to settle in by the end of that first weekend of January, it still doesn't look all that cold. And I'll tell you, some of the model runs of late are kind of suggesting that January may not be that cold. I know I told you about a week and a half ago, you know, some of the trends were for cold to really anchor itself more permanently in January than December has turned out. But I'll tell you, the trends over the last several runs of our medium to long-range models are not real encouraging for cold in January. This is the last 7 days worth of runs averaged together of the American model here, the CFS Climate Forecast System, showing warm anomalies east of the Rockies in January. Now, this is, just one set of modeling. There's a lot of other information to look at out there, but I can tell you that overall, the general model trends have been for milder and milder conditions in the month of January. I took some slack when I put out my winter forecast back in early November from, especially on YouTube. Got several commenters on YouTube saying that I was not cold enough with my winter forecast. And I told you when I put out the winter forecast, so many indices were pointing towards cold this winter, colder than average. Analog years, some model information, etc. But I was hesitant to go as cold as some of that information suggested because recent winters just kind of want to be warm. So I kind of hedged my bets a little bit and didn't go as cold as a lot of other forecasts that I saw, and certainly some of the analog and model information that was out there. With these January trends in the modeling, I'm kind of glad that my forecast was what it was. If that January model trend continues and January ends up being yet another warmer than average month, there's going to be a lot of busted cold winter forecasts for the winter of 2019-2020. All right, enough rambling from me tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday evening. We'll start talking about the year in review, the year in weather 2019, in early week editions of Weather for Weather Geeks Monday and on Tuesday. I'll see you then.